Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Ring Generals podcast. I'm Aaron Rose alongside Andy Scott. Our guest today, Jimmy Alexander. We better know him, though, as Mr. Destiny of the NWF. We want to take this moment and first give a shout out to our Ring Generals champion, Mr. Damian Chambers. He has held on to that title for a little bit now over at, and you can see him defending that title over at our Grindhouse Pro Wrestling show. Grindhouse Pro Wrestling, of course, at the last Sunday of every single month. So if you want to go check out some awesome wrestling at the arena, it's Grindhouse Pro Wrestling, and we look forward to seeing you there. But today we got Jimmy Alexander. We got Mr. Destiny. Mr. Destiny, you come from another, let me rephrase that. You come from a group that we very well respect around here in the NWF, the Bone Crushers Training School, and of course, being trained by Roger Ruffin and crew. And Mr. Destiny, you are making a splash at the NWF right now. Just give me a little bit of background on what's going on, and let's talk about the NWF. Let's talk about your training, and let's get rolling.
Oh, sounds good, man. So, obviously, you know me as Mr. Destiny. I've been training for about probably 3 years at this point. Having an absolute blast. It's always fun to work with Roger Ruffin and all of them over there. Over this weekend, we got Bone Crushers coming up. Big, small venue, but we pack the place really well. It's a good time there.
Yeah, let's talk about those Bone Crusher shows. I told Swayze this when we had him on. I'm aging myself a little bit. I remember the other Bone Crushers. I remember the old Bone Crushers building, but now this Bone Crushers has kind of taken shape of its own, and it's giving itself a good identity. And talk about your time inside Bone Crushers right now.
Well, hold on just a second. So you're saying the new Bone Crushers, the one I've recently been to, there's a worse one?
There's an old one, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Worse is kind of harsh. There's a different one.
Yeah,
it was, okay.
They both had an identity of their own. They really did.
Okay. I'll say this is the updated version.
Yes, this is the updated Bone Crushers. But let's talk about that. Let's training at Bone Crushers, having some of your early matches at Bone Crushers. What was your initial mindset when you first got into training?
My initial mindset was trying to be the best I could be, really. Like, I just want to showcase what I can do. I knew I was always athletic. I knew I could do the moves. I just didn't know how was a big issue.
Okay.
So when, walked in, one day, saw Roger Ruffin, asked him, hey, how do I go about becoming a wrestler? And he said, well, first off, give me $100. Then I signed some papers. Signed some papers, and he told me, hey, this is how much it's going to cost to train you here twice a week. And we got some of the best guys training you. And it was,
so who were your trainers at that point?
At that point. So I believe my trainers were Pompano Joe and Christopher Michael Lotus.
Nice. Okay. Yeah.
Well, how did you get to that point? Were you always a wrestling fan? Did you know someone who was already training or had trained?
So I was a wrestling fan when I was really young, like right before high school. Then I kind of fell out. This was like around maybe 2010, I kind of dropped off. But I wasn't until like 2016 I picked back up because my buddy, in the Project Kobe Kane, real good friends with him. He's the one who helped me get into it. We're roommates, and we've always just, watched wrestling when we lived together. Like, it was just what we wanted to do. And, he started off training with Roger and NWF first. And I thought, man, I feel like I can do that kind of stuff too. So I decided, join up, like, see what I can do with it. So that's kind of how I got my foot in the door.
How did you hear about? Is that how you heard about NWF? I'm sorry, Aaron.
Yeah, that's what I was going at.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure how he found out about it, but I found out through him watching him wrestle with them.
Okay, cool.
So you've been training for 3 years. How long have you been on the main roster? When you got off the Future Stars roster and you went to the main NWF roster?
So my first match at Bone Crushers as a Future Star was, I believe, August of 2021. I think it was like I
Okay.
want to say August 22nd. I think it was. Um, I wrestled that show. I think my first match was against the Avenger. This
Nice.
3-minute squash match. Um, but it wasn't too long though. Like I think my first actual main roster show match, I want to say it was with the Swinger at Ludlow, like sometime in October.
Oh wow. Okay.
It was completely like like I didn't even know I was going to wrestle that night. I just happened to have my gear in the car, so I think that was like maybe 2 or 3 months afterwards I started wrestling. I got on the main roster.
Isn't it wrestling 101 to always have your gear there?
I know that now.
Always keep your gear with
Yep,
you no matter where you're going.
no matter what. Yep. But yeah,
Um,
it was a very shocking to realize I was booked for that night. It was really fun too. It was probably one of my best matches, honestly. Not obviously I've had great matches since, but to that point I felt like in that moment, oh, I'm actually like a wrestler. That moment where that clicks. I felt like that was that
That
moment.
defining match. You're like, all right, this is real. We're
Yes.
doing this.
Yep.
well,
Yeah.
how did you get into your gimmick? I'm sure Roger gave it to you, but
Roger, he must have saw me like day one and had this gimmick in his mind. Because like like I had no I was directionless. I don't know what I want to do as a gimmick. I remember I think I was maybe a month into the training. We was after like a Bone Crusher show. And Roger says, hey, next Tuesday, come in with a towel, a hairbrush, and a mirror. And I'm like, all right. I had no idea what he wanted out of me. So I come in Tuesday and he tells me, hey, I want you to be this pretty boy kind of Fabio gimmick. And we're going to call you Mr. Destiny. And my initial reaction was, I don't know if I want to be that guy. Like, I just like, I never viewed myself as that. But I decided to like kind of like really lean into the gimmick, really lean into this character. And I felt like I really came into my own once I actually started giving 110% into this character. I think I'm very grateful for it too, because like it's a real fun gimmick to be.
Oh, cool. So, like when I was a kid, if you told me later on I was be a wrestler, I would, of course, with my generation, would want to be Ric Flair or Jerry Lawler. So, with who you grew up with watching, what wrestlers or wrestlers did you want to be?
Man, I grew up during like the Super Cena era, so like I wanted to be John Cena when I was a kid.
You're
Yeah,
just making me old. You are making me
yeah,
old, Destiny. Good
dude,
grief.
yeah, dude. Like 2007 to like '09 was like peak like Cena, so like of course I want to be that guy. But as I grew older and as I started watching more, I realized I actually liked his opponents more than him. So I loved watching Edge. I loved watching Randy Orton and stuff like that. Like they were actually the guys who actually got me invested. And of course, you got your Shawn Michaels, he's always there. I've always wanted to like sell like him, I guess is the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So in we've established your career here with Bone Crushers in the NWF. You've really started to make some moves. You got that first big match at Ludlow. Tell me so far, where's your favorite place to wrestle? What's been your favorite venue? I know a lot of the NWFers, a lot of them say Ludlow because the atmosphere is just so different and it's kind of a little bit wild in there. I just lost my screen.
Dum 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 dum.
Come on
Are you
back
back?
now.
There we are. All right. Um, but Ludlow seemed to be like your a lot of the NWF guys. That's one of their favorite places. Does that go for you too?
It's definitely up there. Yeah, I mean, like Butler, of course. Yeah, it's always fun. It's always an easily packed house. The crowd's
Right.
always wild there. But I actually do have a soft spot for like Mount Orb. I'm
Okay.
not sure why, because the drive sucks to go out there. But when you get there, it's like it's an easy setup. It's this easy night usually. I'm just like I always have a blast in Mount Orb. So
Mount
I'm kind of
Orb
like,
is the soccer complex. Is that correct?
yeah, yep.
Okay.
It's real fun to play restaurant there. If I had to go like number one is Ludlow, but number two is like a close two is like Mount Orb for me.
That's cool.
I don't actually like Ludlow that much. I've been there 2 or 3 times. Keep getting stuck on those metal stools, and after 2 or 3 hours, that's not fun. Uh, have you wrestled outside of NWF?
Only one other time. Now, I'm not much of a outside promotion kind of guy. I like working with NWF. I went down with New South with the Project Kobe Kane a few months back.
Yep,
That was fun
wrestled.
just to have like a different like atmosphere, like different like just to see how someone else does it around here.
Right.
I thought it was
Wrestled
really
the
cool to look
Blondes.
at.
Yep. I remember calling
Yeah,
that match fondly.
yeah, you did. That's right. Super fun match. But yeah, that's the only time I've actually worked outside of Roger Ruffin. So
Do you have aspirations to look at other promotions on top of NWF? You know, just kind of adding to that resume. Is that something you're looking to do?
as of right now, no, but I'm very passive. So like if the offer was there, I'd definitely look into it. But I'm not gonna go out of my way looking for like other places to work for. I'm pretty content wrestling with Roger every Saturday
Right,
because it's just
right.
a fun, easy. Like it's fun. Like I just enjoy doing it.
So just the well, I'm speaking. I'm not saying that to leave NWF at all because
Yeah.
you don't want to lose. You do not want to leave a promotion like that. I understand that.
Mhm.
But I'm thinking like the occasional Friday and Sunday bookings.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah,
But like I said, I'm very passive. Like if it
yeah,
comes up, sure, I'll do it. But like I said, I'm not going on my way to look for it as of right now.
right.
Obviously, things change. If I do want to be like, hey, let's try to take this to the next level, I'll probably start doing that. But as of right now, pretty happy with it right now.
And I would say this is more of like honing you really found the promotion you want to hone your craft in.
Mhm.
It-
Oh yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Sorry, my
Have
cat's
you?
getting framed. Get out of here.
That's
Sorry, what was the question? I apologize.
Oh, you're fine. So NWF, it really is the promotion that you are honing your craft in, and
Absolutely.
you're taking that character of Mr. Destiny to the next level,
Mhm.
and and slowly but surely we're built, climbing the ranks of the NWF.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Like I would just have to say, like that's definitely where I want to be at the most.
or have you been a face at all, or is it just been a heel so
One
far?
time, like that was actually the outside booking with New South.
Yep.
I worked face down
Ah,
there with our Prodigy.
is that something you want to do more of, or is it like, because you're not really
Well,
a
so
dastard, you're not really a dastardly heel. You're more of an arrogant heel.
yeah,
So if the
arrogance.
fans don't, go ahead.
So when I first started wrestling, I just wanted to be the cool face that does cool moves. That's what I wanted to be. And because I could do the moves. I'm very athletic. I can do the top rope stuff. I do the springboard drop kick. Um, but as I've grown and learned the business a little bit, I've realized, oh, I'm really good at being a heel. And it's really fun to be a heel. Like it's just like so every once in a while I'm like, they should turn me face eventually, but why would they? It's easy to work as a heel right now. And the gimmick hasn't gone stale yet, so
Any odd interactions with fans? Some old lady hit you with her purse, anything like that?
no, unfortunately not. I'm more concerned about the fans hitting on me, like the older ladies hitting on me after the show.
Take a
That's more
picture
of an
with
issue than actual violence.
take a picture with you, have their hand on your booty. Is that what we're saying?
They get a little frisky sometimes.
So far, what has who has been your favorite opponent up to this point?
Ooh, that's a very good question.
And I'm not trying to put you on the spot here, and I'm not trying to make you have any enemies
No,
within the NWF locker room here.
no, I don't care about making enemies. It's fine. They can get over it. Um, oh, my favorite opponent would probably have to be. I hate to say it, but I think the Swinger. I don't know why.
There's nothing wrong with saying he's your favorite opponent.
Like it's
He
just the thing with Swinger is like he was my first major rival with the NWF.
yeah,
When I came in, I had like two matches, then I had a few with the Swinger. Um, every match we've had has been easier and easier.
right.
So like it's just like such it feels like an off night. I'm like, I know what he's gonna do, he knows what I'm gonna do, and we just like work our magic out there.
I remember calling the your all's conclusion of your rivalry at Summer Sizzler.
Yes.
Was it 2021?
2022, I think it was.
2022. Yeah, that's when you had your
That was my first Sizzler match.
yeah. So
Yes.
yeah, I was on that call, and I remember specifically in the match that the fans were, that was one of the feuds that they were really invested in.
They were really hot for that match.
They were.
That was
They were.
that was probably one of my best matches just because of the crowd reaction after we pulled it off. Like after the match was over, they blew up.
Yeah.
It's still probably one of my most proud matches to this date.
So,
go ahead, Andy.
I was just going to say, outside of wrestling, what's some of your hobbies? What's something you enjoy doing? Is it like ancient Chinese pottery?
I'm more tame than that. No, I'm actually a huge musician. I
Oh, cool.
love playing music. I'm in a band right now called Unrivaled. We're like a kind of punk rock kind of band over in Cincinnati.
What's your
What's
instrument?
I play guitar and sing.
Nice. Okay.
Wow.
I'm the front man. I have the ego. I gotta have center stage. But
That explains the hair
no,
too.
like, oh yeah, absolutely.
All
But
right, selfish plug then. How can people find your band?
on Spotify, anywhere
Oh,
that
okay,
has
cool.
music, you can find Unrivaled. It's Unrivaled, Unrivaled. Exactly how it
Awesome.
sounds. One L, by the way. People think it's two L's. We got a full-length album. We got a Halloween EP actually, where we covered Terror Time from the 1998 Scooby-Doo movie.
Nice.
Yep. I'm really proud about that cover too. But yeah, that's what I do outside of wrestling. I actually was a musician first, and part of the reason why I started wrestling was because of the pandemic.
Okay.
For whatever reason, I'm not sure why music was the last venture to have shows again, but it was. So I was like bored out of my mind. I was like, I gotta do something. And of course, I saw Prodigy wrestle with the NWF. So like, hey, I want to do that. I'm not doing music right now. I have a bunch of this time. Let's see if I'm good at this. And that's kind of how I got into it.
Pandemic really threw a lot of things for a loop, didn't it?
Oh my gosh, it did. It was such a brutal time because like I felt like Unrivaled, my band was getting a lot of momentum there, and then just halts. Everything stops, and you just had to start over with that momentum. It kind of like it set a lot of people back.
It did 100%.
And so many people got used to being isolated. So,
oh yeah,
Yes.
with it. I mean, I don't want to go face people at Walmart either, but we got to get out there a little.
right.
Listen, there was some good. I want people to stay 6 feet away from me at all times. Like that should always be a thing.
That should still be around.
Yes.
Yes.
We should not.
Are you going to incorporate that
lines.
into the Mr. Destiny gimmick?
Just have a 6-foot stick out there.
Back up.
Well, I have been in some wrestling crowds before. You sit down and you're like, you know, why did I pick this seat? Yeah. All right. So, what does success look for you? Do you want to go on to the WWE and main event WrestleMania, or what is success for you?
Success for me is being happy when I'm doing it. That's really what it boils down to for wrestling. I just want to enjoy what I'm doing. Obviously that's not being happy doesn't make you money.
True.
I know that. But like with wrestling though, it's more emotion for me. I enjoy doing this strictly because I want to wrestle. That's basically where I'm at here. So if I'm happy doing wrestling, I think I've already succeeded. As far as that takes me, it is up to the fates. But as of right now, being happy where I'm wrestling is exactly where I want to be. So that's successful to me. That's not a popular opinion, but that's what I got.
How old are you?
I'm 28.
Yeah, okay. You're right in
So
the prime.
that mentality that you have right there is something that I feel like a lot of people need to take note of, because it feels like sometimes, at least in my eyes, it feels like some people just they want to have money. That's what makes them happy. And I feel like there's something to be said for being happy with what you're doing, that does show a good sign of success in my eyes. So that I love that take. Love that take.
Thank you, appreciate that. But I agree though. Like I think people kind of overthink it. Like people want to be perfect, want to be so good at something, they stop having fun.
Right.
And that's like the first thing I kind of go into is like, am I going to have fun doing this match?
Mm-hmm.
As long as I'm having fun doing it and I'm doing it well, by the way. I don't want to have fun and look like garbage out there.
Right. Right.
Obviously, I want to put out a good product, but enjoying yourself is a huge deal for me.
Cool. So, when some of these shows last, I don't know, 2.5, 3 hours, and plus you guys are there earlier doing whatever, and then obviously after all the fans leave, what do you do to pass the time? Because you're out in front of people maybe 15, 20 minutes.
You're talking about like before the show starts? Like
well, you guys are probably putting up three. I was talking about more when the fans are in there and you're all in the back.
Oh, just in the back. I play games on my phone. That's kind of what I do. Like, I'll get my match together. We'll get like the core pieces together. Like, all right, I'm just gonna let this match marinate in my head for a bit and just kind of mindlessly play games on my phone. That's what I do.
Cool. Are you from Cincinnati originally?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. West side of Cincinnati.
Okay.
Where'd you go to high school?
What up?
Where'd you go to high school in Cincy?
Elder High School.
Ah, okay. Were you? Did you play any sports or anything?
Freshman, sophomore year, I played football and lacrosse.
Okay.
When I was a kid, I wanted to be a football player so bad, dude.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to play defensive end for the Cincinnati Bengals. That was my dream growing up. The problem with that is if you don't grow above 6 foot, it becomes really difficult.
Right.
So that dream kind of died pretty quickly, but I still really enjoy football. I love football with passion.
What were your thoughts on lacrosse after you played it?
Lacrosse is fun. I think it needs to be more popular as a sport.
Yeah.
I think it's a really cool, interesting sport. It sucked for me because I played goalie. And
Okay.
I thought that was cool until you take like a lacrosse ball to the kneecap.
Oh,
And you realize those are way harder than you think.
Right.
Yep. So it's a really cool sport though. I wish it would like the states would gravitate towards more towards it, but I don't think it's ever going to really catch on.
Well, down here in Central Kentucky, it's picking up among the big city schools and some of the surrounding counties. But I'll tell you what I've gotten into, in recent years is I've been watching the box lacrosse a little bit, watching the indoor lacrosse.
Yeah.
That it kind of has a hockey mentality to it, and kind of fun to watch and incorporate like the shot clock like you have in basketball. It's just got a little bit of elements of everything. So definitely fun to watch. Yeah.
I think the issue with a lot of sports nowadays is it has to be streamlined almost. So like, it needs to be fast. It needs to have points scored. Like that's offense is huge when you want to develop an audience.
Right.
I think developing the shot clock, having an intense kind of like feel to it, helps the sport grow. So I actually like the shot clock. That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I saw that. And I was like, that's interesting. That's something very cool to see. So, one last question in regards to your wrestling career, and then I think Andy has a question for you in regards to your Mount Rushmore. But in regards to your wrestling career, he mentioned having the ultimate goal. Andy mentioned having your ultimate goal in wrestling. Give me a game plan within the next 5 years. Where do you want to be in the next 5 years?
Where do I want to be in the next 5 years? I mean, the champion of the NWF, I assume.
Okay.
It's exactly where I want to be at. I want to be the heavyweight guy.
You want to be a heavyweight champ. And so on that 5-year journey, how many titles have you held?
0. I haven't held any, dude.
No. How many would you want to held when you get to that 5-year mark? Are you shooting for all of them, or you want to do singles
give me it all,
or tag?
Give me Grand Slam champion, dude.
Okay.
Every title imaginable.
I like it.
Cool. All right. So you can pick any four wrestlers you want, or any managers, anyone you want to throw in there. It's cool. All the way back from Lou Thez up until Seth Rollins. So who is on your Mount Rushmore?
On my Mount Rushmore, I think the first one has to go is Shawn Michaels for me. I think he's had the best WrestleMania matches consistently of any wrestler. All of his WrestleManias have been amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So he's definitely up there for me. I think another one has to be Stone Cold, just because of the way he changed wrestling. Like I think he's a huge factor of why he got so popular in the late 90s. The next two kind of get more difficult. I would say maybe the Undertaker in the same vein as Shawn Michaels, where he just has that legacy and that aura.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of like that different gimmick of wrestling where it's like almost like spirit, like not spiritual, but like dark or like alternative kind of to wrestling almost. And that fourth slot's gonna be tough. Just because he's my favorite right now, it's gonna piss some people off. I want to put Dolph Ziggler on there.
Okay.
Because nobody sells like Dolph Ziggler, dude. Like that's
You're
like
right.
a lost art. I think a lot of people don't do nowadays. Is like selling to make your opponent look real good. I think there's a very much a narrow mind the viewpoint of like, hey, I'm trying to protect myself, and I don't want to make my opponent look too good. Whereas Ziggler always felt selfless about it. I love the way he sold.
So it's almost like Terry Funk, completely different
Exactly. Yeah.
wrestlers, but Terry always wanted to make the other person look better than
Yes.
him. Actually,
Right.
Always make the guy you're wrestling look good. Always.
all right, Aaron. Who's on your Mount Rushmore?
Ooh, jeez. All right. Man. For me, one of my all-time favorites is Sting. I've watched Sting from 89 all the way to now. You know, when I was 4 years old, he was one of the first wrestlers I watched when I was able to turn on the Superstation.
Hold on. Side question.
Yeah.
Real quick. Is it Surfer Sting or the Sting we know these days?
I mean, Surfer Sting was the one I grew up with. Yeah. You know, I'm taking into account his whole career. You know, seeing him beat Flair for the title, very early on, I was able to go back and watch those in the archives and stuff. And, I would definitely say that I think the first iteration of the Crow, when, he was battling the NWO, I think that was one of his most popular times for sure. But, honestly, I can't doubt his TNA run either. I thought he had a really good TNA run. He was able to kind of, do some different stuff with the Sting character, so, but yeah, Sting is definitely on. He's my number one. Number two, would have to be the Undertaker. My wife would kill me if I didn't put the Undertaker on my, Mount Rushmore. Third, I'd have to go. I think I'd have to go with Stone Cold. Mm-hmm. Stone Cold Steve Austin polarized the wrestling world during the Attitude Era, and with him being such a big figure, where the anti-hero really came into play for the very first time in the wrestling business, it was, it definitely turned the wrestling world on its head. So I'd have to put Stone Cold in there. And lastly, Macho Man Randy Savage.
Oh yeah.
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 Macho Man Randy Savage, again, was one of those that, I watched for a very long time. My dad actually had some tapes of the ICW POFO promotion in Lexington. He had recorded some of those before, and where he worked in the TV business as well, he was able to get his hands on a couple archives, where people had taped them before, and he was able to get a hold of those. So I watched all those when I was younger, and then of course watching his run through the WWF and WCW. It just sucks that we lost him at such a young age. Because I mean, let's face it. The age he was at, that is not old at all, and it sucks that he could have done at least a little bit more in the wrestling business. Make that occasional appearance. Could you imagine the lines had he started working Comic Cons and stuff like that?
Oh my gosh, I know.
It would be around the building. So, but yeah, Macho Man would definitely be on my Mount Rushmore. I could add so much more to it, but those are the four that just kind of come to mind right off the bat.
Well, those are good ones, and I've had more time to think about this, so I can spout mine off a little faster.
Okay.
A little older than Aaron and a lot older than you, Mr. Destiny. So you have to keep that in mind. And I guess this all kind of boils down to who you grew up with. Seems to be that common phenomenon. But mine's Ric Flair, Andre the Giant, who I did see in person, Jerry Lawler, and Bobby Heenan. Can you imagine Bobby Heenan these days on a podcast?
Oh, it would be amazing.
Yeah.
Would be the absolute coolest thing. I want to say, too, having Andre the Giant on your Mount Rushmore is such a cool thing because, with the joys of the internet, a lot of people have been able to go back and see what kind of athlete he was before he started making his WWF run. Yes. In his WWF run, he was already starting to slow down. But when you looked at his stuff in the late 70s and early 80s, I mean, the man was doing drop kicks for crying out loud.
That's insane.
He was doing so much more. And, he definitely was one of a kind for sure.
Mm-hmm. All right. So I've got a couple of oddball questions for you here, Mr. Destiny.
Ooh. What you got?
All right. Any odd interactions with fans? And I'm not talking about you rear-ended them or something, but come on, be funny here. Come on, give me something. Little old lady made an indecent proposal to you.
Nah, unfortunately not that, of course. But we do have one fan, Doris, who's such a sweetheart. I love her so much. She loves giving me gifts though. She gives me gifts, she gives my girlfriend gifts, she gives and she has a very unique taste too. God love her. I think the weirdest one was she gave me pajama pants, which is super sweet.
Was the crotch cut out?
No, it was not cut out. Luckily, it was not cut out. But man, the fact
sorry.
The fabric on this material though is so scratchy and so brutal to wear. I'm like, I can't wear these. These are just, there's a $10 Amazon pair of pants.
Okay.
Super sweet. I love her so much, but her choice in fashion and gifts is a little odd.
Right. Okay. When did you buy your first pair of legit wrestling boots?
I bought my first pair a week after Roger told me to bring a towel and a mirror to Bone Crushers Tuesday. So I thought, he's got something cooking for me. I probably should be ready for this.
Do you still have them?
Yes, I still wear them to these days. I gotta get new ones. They are falling apart.
Good deal. All right. So come on, Aaron. You got to think of a couple screwy questions here.
Oh gosh. You're gonna put me on the spot, aren't you, Andy?
Okay, I got one. I'm sorry, Aaron. Okay. Any wardrobe malfunctions?
No, luckily I'm very cautious with it. However, there were a couple not great ones that I was like, "Ooh, this might not work." Because I wear underwear under my tights and all that. A couple times I forgot to wear the right underwear, so I had to go out there commando. I hope these guys aren't about to get a show right now. But no, luckily I've been able to preserve the boys pretty well.
Okay, what's been your goofiest moment in the ring up to this point?
Ooh, the goofiest moment. Um, we had such a stupid spot in that I Respect match where we had the chairs set up, back to back, and I was gonna give Swinger the old suplex on the stairs. He counters it, picks me up for a belly to back. Instead, he crotches me on those chairs.
Oh,
Yeah, that was probably the goofiest. Actually, I take that back because that's there. But okay, so I didn't tell you guys this, but I did actually have another one outside of Roger Ruff and New South that I wrestled at. I did a memorial show for Barton. One of
okay.
his friends passed away, and we did that memorial show. I'm not sure if you heard about it. And I was in a triple threat match with the Swinger and Gigi Jacobs. I'm not sure if you
Okay.
guys are aware of him.
Yep.
They're very eccentric and very different to what I am.
Right.
And we did some goofy stuff in that match. And one of the spots I remember was, I believe Swinger was in Gigi was in the corner, and Swinger charges him, and he bandairs him out. So he's on the apron. I charge Gigi, and he bandairs me, but Swinger catches me, and Gigi catches me, and I crotch himself on the ropes. That's bad. However, what they decided to do was take me by the arms and legs and drag me across the ropes from one buckle to the other.
Oh,
that was probably
oh,
the goofiest thing I've ever done in the ring to this date.
okay. That's a good one. Jeez.
All right.
Oh,
All right, fellas. I guess we'll wrap this show up. Mr. Destiny, what's some of your social media?
Social media is Instagram is Mr. Destiny _NWF. Same deal with Facebook. I'm pretty sure it's the same one, just Mr. Destiny on Facebook. That's the only two I got as of right now. And also follow the Northern Wrestling Federation as well. You can find me and a plethora of amazing talent there, along with Bustin' Loose every Sunday night at like 8 o'clock. We do like a weekly wrap up of what happened on the previous show.
Okay. Aaron, what about your social media, man?
You can find me everywhere. Good grief. Ring announcer Aaron Rose on Facebook, Aaron RKY on Instagram, at Prepspin Aaron on Twitter or X, because I do some work with the high school sports company. And then you can find me as Aaron RKY on TikTok as well, where I have a whole bunch of my clips from people I've announced for and stuff like that. So you can check me out there. And Mr. Destiny, what is your next event coming up, sir?
This Saturday will be the Bone Crusher event. We are, I believe it's the 17th this Saturday. 7:30 is bell time. Doors open at 7. Come on out. Tickets are $10 a piece over in Elmwood Place in Cincinnati, Ohio.
And
I'm sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
Do you guys work? Is it every weekend, every Saturday, pretty much?
For the most part, yes. It's very odd. It's very rare we take a weekend off, but for most of the time, it's every Saturday. It's just a different location.
Gotcha.
When is the next hit show? Is that the 9th?
I think it's a week earlier. So let me check the calendar. I think the next hit show is March the 2nd. That's not right. Is that a Saturday?
I think so.
Yeah, March the 2nd, I believe, is the next hit show.
Okay.
Yep, it's a Saturday.
What is the 9th? Was that Ludlow?
I believe that's
maybe?
Ludlow.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I think the Blondes take on Drex takes on DC.
Okay, I saw the one of the posters get released today, so I was trying to remember which one that was. So
yeah.
All right, guys.
All right.
We'll wrap it up here. Follow Ring Generals on Facebook, Instagram, and you're probably watching on YouTube as we speak. So give us a like and share, and we'll see you guys at a later date. Thanks, guys.
Later.
See you guys.